And in this week's Apple news, one of the world's most anticipated buildings is nearly complete. New drone footage shows Apple's $5 billion solar-powered spaceship office is on track to meet its completion goal. According to Apple CEO Tim Cook, Campus 2 will be the greenest building on the planet. The new video shows remarkable progress on Apple's circular building, as well as the research and development facility, which looks to be very close to completion. New drone footage, along with recent photos, shows that only one crane is currently on site. The rooftops are in place and solar panels are being installed. The construction foam is almost entirely covered with soil for the landscaping efforts that will be needed for the massive 2.8 million square foot development. Once completed, the Apple Campus 2 will house over 13,000 employees. The spectacular four-story donut-shaped building is expected to meet net zero energy standards by generating 100% of its power from renewable energy sources, including 700,000 square feet of rooftop solar panels. The building is slated for completion soon, with a move-in date scheduled for 2017. The original came out 36 years ago. Atari unleashed Battlezone, the arcade game that created an entirely new genre, the first-person shooter. The cabinet also featured an innovative periscope viewer through which you'd peer into the game's green wireframe world, creating an intimate, personal experience that resembled VR. When designing Battlezone for PlayStation VR, developers tried to extrapolate from the concepts of the original. They aimed to create a dynamic, modern VR shooter that still retained those core elements and recreated that feeling of being right there. With the game done finally, the team had some time to take stock, take a breath, and have some fun with what they've made. A thought occurred. Could they recreate the original arcade experience in VR? Could they take that intimate retro arcade feeling and bring it to players at home? It's my pleasure to reveal that classic mode has been added to Battlezone, letting you relive the original game that takes you back to the 1980s in PlayStation VR. You'll still be in the modern Cobra tank, but otherwise it's almost just like the original game, except this time you don't need that periscope viewer to feel like you're right there in the game. And the best part is that Classic Mode is a completely free update to all Battlezone owners. They also added new missions, levels, and a game codex to Battlezone, and they're all free as well. In this week's Tesla news, as the number of Teslas on the road continues to increase, owners are running into a growing problem. While there are superchargers located nationwide for them to quickly plug into and charge up, well, they can quickly get clogged up if one jerk leaves their car parked there for a few hours. Since its cars aren't quite ready to drive themselves away once they've filled up, Tesla is placing the responsibility on the owner. Once a car's battery is full, the owner will now receive a push notification via the Tesla app. If they don't move their car within 5 minutes, they'll start racking up a 40-cent per minute idle fee, at least in the US and Canada, billed at their next visit to a service center. Since electric vehicle charging still isn't quite as fast as filling up with gasoline, some owners may not think of it the same way as simply leaving your car parked at the gas pump. The fee applies even if there are open spots at the supercharger, so users will want to keep this in mind all the time. Since this problem is likely due to inattentiveness more than any intentional urge to camp on the charger, some better messaging and a nag fee is a good way to get people's attention. More astronomy news this week. Astronomers have a powerful new resource in the Pan-STARRS survey of the night sky. Carried out over the last 5 years and 500,000 exposures from the top of Mauna Kea on Maui, the 2 petabytes of data released publicly covers 3/4 of the night sky and shows billions of stars, galaxies, asteroids, and other stellar objects. This isn't the kind of of imagery you put out and put on a wall, although the picture, which shows the whole survey space in visible light, is pretty cool all on its own. Think of images from Hubble and the like to be like extreme telephoto portraits of individual features, while this is an ultra-wide-angled shot of our whole cosmic neighborhood. In fact, it's thousands of them layered one over another. These repeated observations over time are useful for tracking near-Earth objects, bright but brief events, and large-scale features. Pan-STARRS has found dozens of asteroids and quasars, and is helping define things like the mysterious cold spot in our universe's cosmic microwave background. This release is the static sky, which is averaged values over the 5 years of observations, but a second larger data set will come out within the next year or so with much more detail. If you know what you're looking for, though, you can find out how to call it up at the Pan-STARRS webpage. The Cuban government has announced a 2-month trial scheme to allow internet access in private homes for the first time. State-run telecommunications company Etexa will install internet in some 2,000 homes in the capital's colonial district, Old Havana. The company has also reduced by 25% the fee charged to connect to the web, which most Cubans can only access from public Wi-Fi hotspots. Cuba has one of the lowest online connectivity rates in the world. Details are pretty scarce, but the authorities say the experiment will be extended if it is approved after the 2-month trial period, whatever that means. Last week, Etexa signed an agreement with Google to provide faster access to content including Gmail and YouTube. Google will install local servers that will speed up connections to its services. Much of the island's internet infrastructure is obsolete, however, so it's only a start.